Hey guys, welcome to my channel. Today we're going to be looking at a story from Legends and Myths that was requested by one of our subscribers. So let's jump into it. Today we are going to be looking at the story of Python, a giant serpent that was revered as a god for centuries. There are so many different stories that include giants in them, but this one is definitely one of the more interesting ones. So if you want to find out what happened to Python, stick around. Python was a huge serpent, a dragon really, that lived around the area of Delphi in Greece. He was so large that he was able to engulf whole chariots along with their horses and drivers without any issue. And not only did he eat those who went near him, but he also belched out poisonous vapor that would put people into a death-like slumber. Even the great hero Apollo once had to fight against his magic. It took everything he had to defeat Python, but eventually he was slain. But here's where things get a little weird. After he was defeated, Apollo decided to build his very own temple right where Python died. And the people who lived nearby started worshipping Apollo as well as Python, who was now considered a god. You see, Python wasn't just some mindless beast. He actually spoke with humans and could prophesy their futures. People came from all over to visit his shrine and ask him questions, and he would answer them through dreams or by writing messages on leaves or pieces of bark. But obviously, after he was killed, these prophecies became less frequent. They tried sacrificing animals to appease him, but nothing seemed to work. Eventually, Apollo got fed up with all of this. He didn't like how people kept begging Python for answers and then ignoring him. A woman who later became known as the Oracle of Delphi to take his place. To the people who came to the temple seeking guidance, which was said to be a much more effective way of delivering prophecies than just talking. This new method became popular. And soon the Oracle of Delphi was one of the most important spiritual leaders in all of Greece. So when we look at the story of Python, there's a lot of interesting ideas that start to form. For example, why did Apollo allow Python to be worshipped as a god in the first place? Obviously, he didn't want to share his divine status with another being, someone who could predict the future and guide people on their journeys. By making Python a part of his pantheon, he was able to harness the serpent's abilities and use them to gain more followers. Or maybe Apollo simply wanted to send a message to the other gods, a message saying that even monsters could become divine if they were powerful enough. Another interesting idea that emerges in this story is the concept of prophecy. Why do humans have such a strong desire to know what will happen in the future? Right. But sometimes the truth is that we can't change our fate no matter how hard we try. In the story of Python, Python was a master of riddles, and he often spoke in ways that were cryptic and difficult to understand. Finally, was it simply because he was tired of the serpent's cryptic prophecies? Or was there something more sinister behind his decision? Some believe that Apollo was jealous of Python's powers and wanted them for himself. But ultimately, we don't know for sure. And that the Oracle of Delphi became one of the most important positions in Greek culture. So when we look at the story of Python, there's a lot of different interpretations that can be made. It's a story about power and control, about the human desire to know the future, and about the ambiguous nature of prophecy. Python was a monster, but he was also a seer. He was feared, but he was also respected. And in the end, he was replaced by a human, someone who was more in tune with the divine will of Apollo. But maybe that's not the real lesson of the story. Maybe the real lesson is that sometimes the answers we're looking for are right in front of us, but we're too afraid to see them. So what do you think is the real lesson of the story? Let me know in the comments below. Also, if you enjoyed this video, Please be sure to hit that like button and subscribe to the channel so you don't miss any of our future videos. Thanks for watching. Bye.